What's that saying about buses? You wait ages and then two come at once. Well, that's a bit like Polestar is today. We've had the Polestar 2 since 2020, quietly taking care of those buyers who should really buy a Tesla Model 3, but they either want a hatchback or perhaps don't like Elon Musk. But now, before the end of the year, we're going to have the Polestar 3 and the Polestar 4. And today, I'm going to be trying the 3. If you want to know how the 3 drives, then please watch the rest of the video, like and subscribe because it helps pay my mortgage. First, let's try and get our heads around Polestar's naming system, which might take some getting used to. Instead of making the numbers of the cars correspond to the size like BMW, or making letters that spell out smutty names like Tesla, Polestar has decided to number its cars in the order of when they were launched. So the ultra-rare Hybrid 1 was first, then the 2, and now this, the 3. It's a big car, 4.9 metres long, which is about the same as a Land Rover Discovery. But it's only 1.6 metres tall, which is less than a Volkswagen ID4, for example. It makes the Polestar look very squished for an SUV, almost like a picture on your computer at the wrong settings. In fact, it's sort of halfway between an SUV and an estate car, I suppose, with only these black bits of cladding to give it real roughy-tufty appeal. I kind of like that though. Price? Well, it starts at $75,900. There will be a cheaper single-motor, long-range version later in 2024 though. Can I show you some of the interesting bits? First of all, you've got soft closed doors, very posh. And then you've got these bits, which when I saw a picture of them, I thought was a caption, but they are really here, and they kind of tell you what's going on. So there's the power and the battery size. Then if you come here, 22-inch wheels with these nice gold calipers that come as part of the performance kit, and even a little gold valve cap. 1.3 megapixel headlamps, which doesn't mean much to me and you, but what it actually says is that it's going to give you a much clearer view at night and do those clever things where it puts shadows in other cars. Then we have this strange spoiler thing. It actually does go through. Look, I'll show you. See? And that directs the air over the top of the car to the back and makes it far more efficient and aerodynamic, apparently. Then there's this bit, which Polestar call the smart zone. Now, all the clever sensors and things are hidden in here, and it's even heated so it doesn't get bunged up with snow in winter. But there's this strange plaque here, which looks like something you sort of find in an art gallery. You can take it off if you want to, I suppose. As the stickers say, there's a 111 kilowatt hour battery, which translates to 107 kilowatts of actually usable capacity. These show the power, which is 489 horsepower, or 517 if you buy the performance pack. The 0 to 62 time isn't mentioned in these stickers, possibly because it's not actually that quick compared to some rivals. Well, it's 5 seconds or 4.7 if you pay the extra for the performance pack. Now that's as fast as you'd ever really want in the real world, but you won't impress any Tesla owners. There's another price to pay for the performance pack, the efficiency. Instead of 392 miles of range, you get 350. That's quite a big drop for the performance. Is 0.3 of a second worth 42 miles of range? I'd say probably not, but I suspect most buyers will want the performance just for the bling wheels and gold seat belts. It's disappointing that AC charging is only 11 kilowatts though. It seems a bit tight and will make a difference if you have access to 3-phase power at home or public charge points or maybe in the office. When it comes to charging, the Polestar uses a 400 volt charging system, which you think might slow things down because rivals like the Audi Q6 and the Kia EV9 use 800 volts. However, this can charge at a peak of a very respectable 250 kilowatts, which means a 10 to 80% charge takes about half an hour. There are lots of lovely, interesting bits inside too. I mean, the first thing to catch your eye is these yellow seat belts, which only come as part of the performance pack. Then there's the key. Now, Polestar keys have been criticised in the past, so you get 3 choices here. You get this card, like you would on a Tesla. You also get an old-fashioned key, but you can also use your phone. Looking at the rest of the technology, I've got this nice screen in front of me, which appears to be slightly on the wonk, but I've put a spirit level on it because I'm sad like that, and it is actually straight, so I think it must be just a strange thing that happens with your eye or with the curvature of the dashboard. Then you've got this big screen here as well, which has plenty of buttons, and there's this fixed bit down at the bottom, so you've got all the stuff you use commonly down there. I did have terrible trouble trying to get the window to defrost this morning, but I'm sure that's just because I'm old and fuddy-duddy. The speaker system, there are 25 speakers in this Bowers & Wilkins system, and it does sound amazing. Then there are these seats which are actually covered in leather, which is a bit of a rarity these days because most people seem to be going away from it. However, this is certified sustainable and it comes from Scotland, and it would otherwise go into landfill because it gets thrown away after we all get our steaks. There are a few bits that I think might be a little bit naff, especially in comparison to the rest of the interior, which is beautiful. First of all, there's this charge pad where you can put your key and charge your phone, and it just looks a bit unfinished maybe. Then there's this cubby hole where the switch just feels a bit super mini rather than premium. Finally, they've got some more writing here on the leather, and it just looks like the sort of sticker that you'd peel off when you've bought your new telly and you want to take it away once you've read it, but it's there forever. I also have to mention the paint finish. On the cars I saw, it looked like Polestar had just slapped on some Hammerite with a roller. Hopefully they'll learn how to use a spray gun by the time cars reach customers. So the back is, if anything, more comfortable than it is in the front. I mean, look at all this space. This car is based on the Volvo EX90, whereas that car's going to be 7 seats and is a bit taller. This is stretched out, so you get all this room. I mean, look how much room there is for my knees. That's my driving position as well, so nobody's ever going to complain about the space. Loads of headroom too. And look, I even get my own special little cushions. While there's plenty of space in the back, it's noticeably less comfortable over rough roads if you're a rear seat passenger. It can become quite rumbly and uncomfortable over broken bits of tarmac. Even more reason to call shotgun, I suppose. A couple of things just before I show you the boot. Look, it's got a rear wiper, which is by no means assured on electric cars these days. Secondly, I was prodding at this for a few minutes thinking it was the button and wondering why I couldn't open the boot. It's not the button, I don't know what it is. Button down there. Boot's a reasonable size. It doesn't look that deep from here, but when you open up this bit here, there's an enormous space under here. I'm not quite sure you can put it in there. It's certainly bigger than cables. You could put a week's shopping in there easily. There's also this clever button which can raise or lower the air suspension, making it easier to load heavy stuff in or maybe hitch up a trailer. It's got a 2.2 tonne towing capacity too, which is really impressive if you're a brave electric caravanner. Now the first thing you notice when driving the Polestar 3 is the comfort. Once you've worked out how to adjust the seats and the mirrors and the steering wheel, which is by no means easy, but I suppose you only have to do it once, it's really comfortable in here. You've got a slightly raised driving position. It's not high like you'd be in a Range Rover, but it's certainly higher than a saloon car. And it's really nice. You've got good visibility and you just feel comfortable and everything's nicely to hand. The steering feels really nice too. It has lots of feel even around the centre here. And this small steering wheel gives it a bit of a sportier feel. It's really nice to hold too. The brakes, you can use one pedal driving, which I know lots of people in the Electrifying team love. But also, if you don't want to have the one pedal driving, you can just use the pedal and it feels nice and progressive and normal. There's no snatchiness and it feels well graduated. This car is riding on 22-inch wheels, which are part of the first edition pack. You can also get them on the performance pack. Now normally big wheels like that, and these are huge, they look really bling, mean that you're going to get a terrible ride because you've got those wafer thin low profile tyres. But somehow they seem to have sorted it so that even on potholed roads it feels really nice, really smooth riding. This car I'm driving is the standard version, which has 489 horsepower. That's plenty enough for most people, but you can opt for the performance pack, which gives you a little bit more if you want a bit more go. Now, if I put my foot down, you shouldn't really have any complaints about that. If you're in the economy mode, it is a little slower to get on the pickup, but eventually it realises you want the power and gives you enough boost to get past on an overtake or something. So this car is 4-wheel drive, 2 motors, one at the front, one at the back. And at the back it has some clever stuff that does torque vectoring if you want to go on a track day. But in most situations what it will do is disengage the back motor to give you maximum economy, and you just use the front. The car will work out if you want the extra performance or you need the extra grip and bring in that back motor when it needs to. Those big tyres and that torque vectoring system means that in most situations you're going to really struggle to even get the tyres to squeal on this car. It really does give you some confidence if you want to go around corners quickly, or if you find yourself caught out on a wet roundabout. In terms of efficiency, a big SUV like this isn't going to be the most economical ever, but I've been pleasantly surprised. It's averaging about 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which is much better than some other cars which are smaller than this I've tried. I think that's probably because it's more aerodynamic and also that clever thing that disengages the back motor. If you drive sensibly, you should be able to get more than 350 miles out of this easily. So has the Polestar 3 been worth the wait, or would I rather get the bus? Well, I really like this idea of having a sort of crossover of an estate and an SUV. I think it works really well. It brings efficiencies because the car's more aerodynamic, and it also means it's better to drive because you have a lower centre of gravity. So I think it's a great car. I've got a feeling it's not as sharp to drive as an Audi Q6 e-tron or a Porsche Taycan or even a Macan. But when the cars arrive in the UK, we'll get them together and we'll give you a definitive verdict. If you want to be the first to see it, remember to subscribe.